it's December 22 when spring ch- changes the winter and Ukraine turns to its victory. Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum starts its operation. My name is Vasil Samakhvalov, and our guests today are Viktor Liashko, Minister of Health of Ukraine, Daria Herasymchuk, Director of Vidchuy NGO, and Tetiana Lomakina, Commissioner for the President of Ukraine for the Barrier-Free Environment. And we will be talking about the presentation of the initiative Here Plus Plus, which is called to protect our warriors against the hearing trauma. Maybe I'm not qualified enough to express it in detail, but we will be talking with the more qualified persons right now. I want to pass the mic to Viktor Liashko, the Minister of Health, who will tell us what are the challenges we're facing right now. Hello, everybody. I wish everybody good health. Really, the invasion of Russian Federation brought a lot of issues, a lot of problems to our land. And first of all, it refers to our defenders because besides the injuries, the shooting injuries, explosion injuries, shrapnel injuries, there is a lot of hearing trauma, hearing injuries as well, because there are constant artillery shellings 24/7 going on in the front lines, and the trauma of the upper part of the body, of the face injuries, and one of the prevailing type of trauma. And the most widespread types of trauma are acute trauma, the damage of hearing bones, the hearing apparatus. And when we say that the medics save lives, that they do the impossible, they do the miracles, but in those cases, it's not always possible to save health in full and to save the hearing. And in many cases, the hearing prosthesis is a very widespread type of rehabilitation, and the rehabilitation is the adaptation of a person to new conditions of life in new reality, so to say. I want to thank the civil organizations who integrate in the work of government authorities and who help us solve the global issues. And together with the civil organization Vidchuy, we're signing the memorandum which would allow us, after the prosthesis of the hearing apparatus, to engage the activists of the civil organizations who work in the area of rehabilitation for 10 years in the area of rehabilitation of hearing injuries, and who will help the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian warriors, to adapt, to renew the perception of sounds that they lose due to the injuries of hearing. So it's very cool, in my opinion, initiative which will shortly bring good results in cooperation of civil sector and government sector. So let's talk with the organizers of this initiative. What will be the areas you work in, because the spectrum of application of your initiative is quite broad. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Minister for support of our project and for the participation in today's presentation, and I'm sure we will become good partners. I want to thank Ms. Lomakina for support as well, because specifically now we have this wonderful opportunity to build the society without barriers that we all aspire to. In our organizations, we are lucky because now in these difficult and indefinite conditions, when it's difficult to plan at least 1-2 steps ahead, we are lucky to be doing what we've been doing for a very long time, to help people with injury, with hearing trauma. In the realities, we live now more than 300 days. The Ukrainians suffer the war, they suffer full-scale invasion, and people hide from air raid alert, air strikes in the raw and moist cellars. People are freezing in their cold dwellings after Shahed strikes, and frequently they cannot resort to the help of doctors or just to complete banal hygienic procedures, talking about if we talk about the temporarily occupied territories and what I named constant noise load by the shellings. It all contributes to the worsening of hearing in both adults and kids. We have to separate the category of the people who face the threats to their health on a daily basis. I'm talking about our defenders now, because the sounds of shellings, the sounds of the operation of the machinery, material they work with, the acoustic trauma they experience, it's something that takes the part of their hearing on a daily basis, and sometimes it's very difficult to renew or sometimes even impossible. And that's why we decided that now it's as actual as never to think not only about the hearing health, what we've been doing for all the citizens for a very long time, but now we take care about the hearing of our defenders mostly. More than 8 years within our organization, we have a consultancy center who provides support with the hearing prosthesis children and adults, so they adapt to the new conditions, to the new reality, to new hearing conditions they're facing. And starting from 2016, we had an experience of rehabilitation of the serviceman who was injured and who lost his hearing in the Ball of Ilovaisk. And when we met him, he was not hearing for 8 months, and his way of speaking was incomprehensible because he lost a half of the sounds. But then he received a hearing implant after a surgery, after which, with the help of our specialist, within the next 6 months, he did not just perceive the sounds easily, but he was able to talk on the phone. So we know for sure that we have a great experience which can confirm to the Ministry of Health that we can pick up our servicemen after the hearing prosthesis of surgery as a consultants who can sort things out. What's the hearing aid, what's the hearing apparatus to just tell the truth to the people that when you apply the hearing aid apparatus, you won't lose your hearing forever. So we are 100% sure that we will become very good partners to you. But obviously, apart from rehabilitation of the warriors who already lost their hearing, it's important for us to do something that our warriors don't lose hearing. Unfortunately, the war does it in a different way, but we analyzed the world market, what it offers to support the hearing rehabilitation for our warriors, and we found a number of good solutions. And as Mr. Minister said, the society joined in the fight against our enemy, and we jointly, as the civil community and government agencies, we were procuring body armors, helmets, kneecaps to protect our defenders, but we were not pondering over the issue of protection of hearing. So we found a very good solution for protection of hearing. So they are the personal protection equipment, very small sound filters. It's a very small device which is individual for everybody, which helps to hear everything around, but to block the sound during the explosion, which would help the warriors not to lose their hearing. So even now, if they don't experience any losing of hearing, it does not mean that hearing will not worsen in future. So we procured the first shipment of these individual sound filters, and they will be shipped to our artillery and air defense forces, tank units, to our heroes and heroines, but we will continue this work further on so that the most number of our defenders get this type of protection for themselves, because war is not forever. We are sure it will end in victory, and we want our military to get back to the peaceful life full with sounds. And if we ask them, can you hear us? They respond plus plus. Can you explain us why plus plus? And can you detailize what's the first shipment? What's the amount? We procured 1,150 hearing protection devices. Everybody understands they are sound filters. It's not such a costly thing, but they are really quite difficult to find and procure. But we're sure more than 1,000 defenders will already receive their protection. Well, plus plus, it's a hearing campaign, and this is why it's very actual. It's directed, it's aimed at sound. And why plus plus? Because we wanted it to be related to the military, and their confirmation plus is good, and plus plus is very good. If you ask them how is it going, well, our next speaker is Tetiana Lomakina, the Commissioner of the President of Ukraine for the barriers-free environment. My question is as follows. Look, we're having the current situation, and we understand that the situation is about to develop, and the issue of a barriers-free environment will be very sharp. How do we prepare? What will be the preventive and rehabilitation measures? Can you give us more detail on that? As you know, thanks to the initiative of the First Lady of Ukraine, Ms. Elena Zelenska, 3 years ago, we started a big movement towards the barriers-free society. And in this movement, we're saying not only about the fact that we have to build the efficient, up-to-date rehabilitation system, but also we should talk about care about for any people with trauma of hearing after explosions and after any trauma in their body, so they can rehabilitate and they can get back to the normal life in the society, be autonomous, and feel that they're equal to the other people of the community, of the society. So the fundamentals which were laid a few years ago, today they help the best hospitals in Ukraine to implement the up-to-date rehabilitation. Our doctors train abroad, and they provide the high-quality modern services. Now we have tutors who come to us, who train us how to build the proper rehabilitation system, which helps to rehabilitate very quickly. And our doctors, they are wondered about the people who you used to rehabilitate within the 6 months previously. Now it takes them 1.5 months, for example. And as to our defenders, they want to get back to the front lines and to continue fighting after such rehabilitation. This is inspiring. And what about the development of rehabilitation? We moved, I would say we peeled off in a very efficient manner. And today this civil organization Vidchuy will guide the work after the implantation, after the people are being brought back, their ability to hear. And I would say that in any area, in any field we work in, we have to do it in a way that it's convenient for the people, that it's completely renewing, rehabilitating. I was already seen these rehabilitation processes It's not only the military who are engaged in it. The people who are engaged in it are the close ones, the families, because we have to build not only the people's rebuild not only the people's ability to hear, but the whole their system of adaptation in the society, their reintegration. And I hope the civil organization will spread their good, efficient experience and hand it over to other organizations who would want to pick up such initiative. Thank you very much. If we have questions in the studio, please go ahead. Irina Udodenko, Ukrinform. I have a question to Mr. Minister. Is it known for the time being how many servicemen already lost their hearing due to the warfare, and what's the process of their rehabilitation? Yes, we know this figure, but we don't communicate the injuries of our servicemen before our victory. I'm sorry, but this is how it goes. Any more questions? Oh, I have a comment. I would like to tell more how the rehabilitation process will be going on, and because we are having questions of how can we sign up for the consultation of how to get these sound filters, what we have to do for that. Well, first of all, I will tell you about the logic. People who get a trauma, who get the hearing injury, after hearing prosthesis, they will not hear the sound in a way they did before the injury. So that's why the people should undergo a special rehabilitation, which in our center looks like intensive program tailored for each patient, and it lasts for up to 6 months. That's the maximum term with the patients and their family members. We will teach them how to properly use the prosthesis, and our organization does not accomplish the operation, the surgery for hearing prosthesis, because it's the medical part which is provided by the government for free, and they can undergo the surgery with the hearing aid. Well, the situation with the hearing aid is a little bit more complicated, but we're working on it. But to sign up for the consultation, at least one consultation, if you don't even need the hearing prosthesis, but you have a hearing injury and you want to take care of it, you can find the phone of the administrator of our consultancy center on our website, www.vidchuy.org, or send us a message through Instagram or Facebook and sign up for a consultation. If you need an intensive rehabilitation program, we will take you for free. We work both online and offline. We're accessible to all the country, or you can come to Kyiv or get your consultation online or as to informing. In this case, the Ministry of Health immediately in the hospital, for example, when a warrior is diagnosed with acoustic trauma or pressure trauma, such warrior would be offered a consultation and support if you want this support. So this is what evidences our partnership. As to the sound filters, to receive them, we need a letter. Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask. How people can get engaged, how the military units can get the sound filters from you to receive those sound filters. Just message us through our website, through our email, or the social media, and we need a letter from the unit commander. And first of all, we will support the units which are closer to the front lines, who unfortunately suffer the sound load. And with the help of such requests, we will try to accumulate the funds and get engaged everybody who can. But it's important to remember that 1 million hryvnias is 1,000 sound filters. So 1 million hryvnia, every million hryvnias is 1,000 of protected servicemen. So to help you with money, with donations, how should people get engaged? Well, on our website there are banking details. For the convenience, we will have Monobank, Banka, pop up soon. We all know how to donate. Now everybody does it on a daily basis. It's not something weird for us. We report about that. Obviously, there will be a lot of video materials, but if I can, for example, tell about the barriers-free society, it's the participation of every single person. And why is it important? Because if you lose your hearing, you lose the communication in the society. Yes, really, to help understand how to better communicate with the people who have certain injuries, including hearing injuries, there is an open resource, the barriers-free guide created by the upon the initiative of the First Lady. Is online, so you just have to enter 6 letters, bf.in.ua, and at this address you will find a guide that will help you sort out difficult issues, how to communicate with a person who drives in a wheelchair, how to support such people, how to talk to them properly. And this is the guide with an open code. And during the military invasion, we are receiving at very high price, but we're receiving very important experience. If you want to expand this guide, if you want to share your initiative, how to contribute to it, please tell us, please write us, because it's an open source document, open code document. Many people were getting engaged in editing of this guide, and it's very good if we will keep filling it with the focused advice specifically about how to communicate with a person who's just lost their hearing. For example, if there is such initiative from the organization Vidchuy and Ministry of Health are open to providing more support, and I would like to continue this idea about the hearing filters, those that would help us save the hearing, the women, the closed ones, the families of our defenders. They can get engaged. They can just come to the civil organization Vidchuy and ask them where they can buy such filters, how to support the unit of their closed ones, military units of their closed ones with such sound filters. So the only goal is to protect our defenders. Or if I may ask our last question regarding rehabilitation, what are the medical institutions that rely on such programs, and how does this rehabilitation system develop now? Because we understand there is government support, there is donor support, and this is the problem that we will be facing. Like tomorrow, we will need a very powerful, very intense system of rehabilitation. I appreciate your question. Really, we have a new way of development of rehabilitation in the healthcare system. Relevant law was adopted on rehabilitation in the healthcare system. Last week, the government approved a number of resolutions that regulated the waves of rehabilitation in the sphere of healthcare, and we have to talk through that. There are surgeries which are related to full loss of hearing or partial loss of hearing, and the Ministry of Health, through the vertical of communication with the doctors, they will demonstrate who can help with the rehabilitation of hearing. And there are certain medical institutions who do the surgery, the prosthesis and implanting of the hearing devices, and the cooperation will expand, because we invite the representatives of civil organizations, because from the very first day of installation of the implant, people have to work with in field of rehabilitation for renewal of hearing. And talking about the system of rehabilitation in general, the approaches are changing towards the full rehabilitation, not only sanatorium recreation. There are multidisciplinary teams working in that field step by step, day by day. They return the injured ones to the normal life. They reintegrate them back in the society, and I want to thank everybody who gets engaged. We have some flagman projects like Superhumans. I'm on the medical board of this project, and the First Lady is on the supervisory board, and we will represent all the new technologies that can work in the area of rehabilitation. And a lot of foreign specialists now, it's not only medics but rehabilitologists as well. They come to Ukraine and they share their experience so that Ukraine is on the top level in this field, and there is a large number of those of our defenders being rehabilitated now. But we have to understand that other diseases, they don't go anywhere, and many people, for example, who have strokes, they need rehabilitation. And under the program of medical guarantees, it's starting in the intensive care units. And for long-term rehabilitation, we're building the new system of institutions, of healthcare institutions, who will take care of this rehabilitation. And along with neuro rehabilitation, there is a psychological rehabilitation. It's one of the large projects that we initiated, and again, that was upon the initiative of the First Lady to create the national program of psychological rehabilitation, psychological support. There is a multidisciplinary team in the government which involves a large number of ministers and deputy ministers, and there is certain work going on, certain developments which show where we should move to preserve the mental health of Ukrainian nation. Thank you very much. We will wrap up our part. We were talking about the hearing campaign Here Plus Plus that is aimed at preserving the hearing for our warriors. Our next briefing is at 13:30. We're wrapping up our part. For what I understand, there will be less official part. Well, not for us, but we'll see you shortly.
Скажете, як вам зручно, можете.
Так, нам треба фото.
Добре, тоді ми зараз попросимо.